What's up, football fans? Welcome to our NFL free agency grades, AFC edition. Let's get right into it. We're going to do it by each division in the AFC. Starting off with the AFC West standings, we got the Denver Broncos with a B-. The Denver Broncos added Brandon Jones. I think that was their best add this offseason so far. Former Dolphin, massive shoes to fill, right? The biggest loss correlates with this. Justin Simmons, an insane safety for the Broncos, an insane safety in the NFL. Biggest release, but they had to because he was going to be a massive cap hit. After that, we got the Chargers, B-. B-. Didn't think they had a great offseason. I think their best add was maybe Hayden Hurst. Adds a little bit of depth to the tight end position, to their receivers. And they're going to need that because they're down bad, because they not only did they lose Keenan Allen as their biggest loss, cap casualty, by the way, they lost Mike Williams. They lost several people. They had to restructure both their ends. They were in cap casualty. They were just down bad. They were just down bad in cap space. Next, we got the reigning, defending Kansas City Chiefs. Solid offseason. You add Hollywood Brown to a team that is very wide receiver deprived right now, but you lose MVS on a very wide receiver deprived team. But as always, they're going to make it work. Last but not least, in the AFC West, we have the Raiders, forming that Raider way that we love to hear about. They had Christian Wilkins, and when I say a guy that embodies the Raider way, high motor, high energy dog, he's going to be out there giving his all next to Max Crosby, and that's going to be an insane duo for Patrick Mahomes to deal with twice a year. Biggest loss, we're going to go Josh Jacobs. That's a huge playmaker. That would be a loss for any team, but I think they'll figure out a way to fill that spot. We're going to give them a B, Chiefs a B+, Chargers, Broncos, B-. Done. Next, we have the AFC South standings. We got the Jags. They add Gabe Davis. We give him a C+, by the way. They add Gabe Davis. My thing about the Jags is their whole wide receiver core is full of wide receiver twos. That's why their biggest loss is Calvin Ridley. I know he didn't perform great last year to what we thought he was going to perform to, but still a wide receiver one for the team, and the team is scraping for a wide receiver one right now. Next, we have the Colts at a B-. They add Joe Flacco, which is a massive add for a team that just had a hurt rookie quarterback. Their backup had to play most of the year. So Joe Flacco is going to bring a lot of, if anything, if he doesn't have to play, a lot of knowledge to the team, and we love to see that. Biggest loss is Zach Moss. Was a good running back too, and even a really great running back one when JT was gone. That's going to be a massive loss at depth for them. There we go. Next, we're going to give the Colts a B-. Next, we got the Texans at an A, one of our few A's we gave out. I think maybe our only A we gave out in the AFC. They add Azeez, a top 5 tackler in the NFL, to a really solid young defense and a really solid young offense. This is a massive, massive pickup for this team. Their biggest loss, Jonathan Grenard. He's a dog, but I feel like they filled his shoes pretty well. They added some really good depth at the D tackle position. I think they're going to be A-okay. After that, we got the Tennessee Titans. Now they add Calvin Ridley to a decently solid wide receiver core. You got D-Hop, so that's a really solid addition to him. Biggest loss, we got Derrick Henry. This is a given biggest loss. You lose, like I said about Josh Jacobs, you lose a guy like Derrick Henry. Hard to fill those shoes, and you went and filled them with Tony Pollard. So that's not better as it is. So we're going to give them a B. Next, we got the AFC North. The Steelers are in a very odd position. One, they have 2 quarterbacks. We'll get into that. We'll get into that. They add Patrick Queen from another crazy defense. You know, the Steelers love their defense, building something over there. It's really good. You got a lot of solid defensive pieces, and you just add Patrick Queen to that. It just gets nothing but better. Their biggest loss, I think Deontay Johnson's probably their biggest loss. They lost a lot of key pieces on defense, but we're going to go with Deontay Johnson, solid wide receiver too. Got a lot of yards during the year, didn't get a lot of touchdowns. I forgot if he even got a touchdown last year. That was like the big thing, right? When's Deontay Johnson gonna get a touchdown? If you played fantasy, you understand me. We're gonna give the Steelers a B plus because that Patrick Queen edition is massive. After that, we got the Ravens. We give them a B. Could have probably added a B plus, but they didn't, or probably an A if they would have retained Patrick Queen. But you add Derrick Henry, a big back for a big run offense. That's going to be amazing if he stays healthy. It's going to be insane what the Ravens can do. You have, I forgot their backup running back coming back, but he did really well last year. You pair those two together, it's going to be absolutely insane. Your biggest loss, obviously, Patrick Queen. It's hard to replace a guy like Patrick Queen, but when you got a guy like Roquan Smith, he might be able to fill those shoes, so we'll see. After that, in the North, we got a B plus for the Bengals. They add Mike Gesicki. Now I know Mike Gesicki hasn't been great in his career. He's had a few 700-yard seasons, 500, 300. He's never really had that potential to grow. He's always been on a team though with a younger quarterback, Mac Jones, what a disaster in New England. We won't talk about that. Solid potential. I think Joe Burrow can unlock, right? After that, we have their biggest loss, DJ Reader. They lost a really solid defensive lineman on a really defensive lineman deprived team, really lackluster pass rush over there in Cincy. I feel like that's a massive loss for them. After that, we get the Browns a B. I think their biggest addition, and this is going to be crazy to hear, Jameis Winston. Why do I think this is their biggest addition? They went through 4 quarterbacks last year. No telling what's going to happen this year. So quarterback depth is massive for them. Big Jameis Winston guy. Big Jameis Winston guy. Can't get over him. Biggest loss, Joe Flacco. I mean, like I said, 4 QBs last year. You lose a vet quarterback that just took y'all to the playoffs. Feel like that would have been a really great guy to have in the locker room, even for the young dudes. After that, we got the AFC East. I really wanted to go in on the Bills because they're terrible, but we're going to start with this. We give the AFC East Buffalo Bills a C. They add Curtis Samuel. He'll try to fill those Gabe Davis shoes. We still don't know what's happening with Stephon Diggs, so he might just be wide receiver 1. We don't know. Their biggest loss, they had massive losses this offseason. They were insane in cap debt, and they had to let several people go. We're going to say their biggest loss is probably Jordan Poyer. Massive cap casualty cut right there. Really solid player. Hard to lose him. We have the Dolphins adding Jordan Brooks. Seattle Seahawk fan. So Jordan Brooks, have a career, brother. Hope you do great over there at the Dolphins. Solid linebacker for a team bolstering their defense. They're going young defense. They're young offense. They're trying to get young. They're trying to get fast, flying across the field. They're trying to make a lot of additions. Biggest loss, though, Christian Wilkins. Like I said, went over to the Raiders. He embodies that Raider way. High motor, high energy guy. You probably wanted to retain that. That's their biggest loss. I'm giving the Dolphins a B plus. I'm giving them a B plus. This is their best addition, I believe, but they made a ton of additions. They made a ton of depth additions for a team that was super hurt last year. So they're like, we might not add some big names, but we're going to add some depth to the team. We have the New England Patriots, who just got, we'll get to that. They add Antonio Gibson, lightens the loss of Zeke. I think Zeke was really solid for them last year. You're getting a younger guy. You're getting, I wouldn't say a more explosive guy, but Antonio Gibson deserves some time to shine, especially in a backfield that is the starting running back going to be hurt again? I don't know. We'll see. They were pretty banged up last year. It's going to be real interesting. I think he's going to get a lot of PT. Biggest loss, I mean, I'm going to say Mac Jones because now their starting quarterback is Jacoby Brissett. Not a bad starting quarterback. Just want to say that. But you lose your rookie, your franchise quarterback that just couldn't get the system down. We know what they're going to do in the draft. So is this really a massive loss? Probably not. But I'm going to say welcome to New England, J.J. McCarthy. We'll see if I'm right about that. And last but not least, we have the New York Jets with a B rating. They add Tyron Smith. I feel like if he can stay healthy, that's going to be a massive, massive add for Aaron Rodgers. One of the best left tackles to ever do it. Just over the last few years has not been able to stay healthy. I think there's a lot of potential there. Biggest loss, Bryce Huff. Really solid defensive lineman or linebacker. I can't remember. Solid loss, and was not a big player, but a really great rotation player. I think he only played 46% of defensive snaps. Was not an every down contributor, but when he was on that field, absolute dog. I think he went over to Philly. I think that's going to be a solid addition for Philly. But that is our end of the AFC East standing and our end of all the divisions. So we're going to run back through real quick. We got the Jets with a B. We got the Patriots with a B+, the Dolphins with a B+, the Bills with a C. We got the Browns with a B. We got the Bengals with a B+. We got the Ravens with a B. We got the Steelers with a B+. We got the Titans with a B. We got the Texans taking the stand, taking the number one spot in the AFC with an A. Really solid additions. We got the Colts with a B-. We got the Jags with a C+. We got the Raiders with a B. Really close to that A. I think they made some solid additions. They probably just needed to add a running back to push them up a grade. We got the Chiefs with a B+. We got the Chargers with a B-. We got the Broncos with a B-. And that is our end of our NFL free agency grades AFC edition. Be back next Tuesday for our NFC edition. Let me know your favorite addition to an AFC team down in the comments. Don't forget, like and follow, guys.